If
Sure.
somebody went up to you 10 years ago and said you would have almost 1.5 million followers on Twitter, which is astounding. But there's a reason for that. You're great at what you do. Like I said, you're one of my favorite follows on social media. But if someone told you that you would have this voice and you would be as popular as you are today, and if they asked you, 10 years ago, would you have believed it?
No, no, it's kind of it is kind of crazy. It was a fluke that I even joined Twitter. I was complaining to one of my friends that about some device I had. It was like a Samsung phone. He's like, "Oh, you should go on Twitter and then you should tweet at that company. Might have been Samsung, and then they'll respond to you." And so that's what I did, and I got mixed results doing that, but I was tweeting
Mhm.
like once a week, once every other week, not on a regular basis. When Donald Trump was awarded the nomination from the Republican Party to be president, something clicked in my brain. I was like, what the F is going on? And I went from tweeting once every other week to like tweeting 5 or 6 times a day, and then like 10 or 12 times a day. And I
Yeah.
was mad. I was mad as heck. And I let people know it. And there was nothing fancy about my tweets, mind you. I remember looking at other people's tweets and envying them and saying, wow, these people are so creative,
And look
how
at
they
you.
like word their stuff. But at the end of the day, folks, it's your own voice. That's
Right.
what matters. You find
Yep.
your own voice and you put it out there, and
Yep.
you're not doing this to gain followers, but to gain community. And that's what
Right.
happened. I found people, like-minded people who we were all on the same mission. We're all walking down the same road together, and you help each other out. And before you know it, I don't know how it's working now, because Elon has messed up
Yep.
the algorithm on
Yeah.
this
It's a
site.
cesspool of hatred and bigotry, and he allows it. That's another, but you're direct, you're to the point, you speak the obvious, and people need to hear what you have to say. And I think that's why you have the following that you have. And speaking of a following and speaking of voice heard, I want to give you the opportunity to talk about your book and how people can get their hands on it.
Thank you.
Sure.
So the bigliest loser is the sequel. Well, the first book I wrote was in 2020, The Littlest President,
Right.
LIDDLE''EST. And
Yep.
it's an absurd title, and it's intentionally absurd because it was inspired by Donald Trump calling Adam Schiff Liddle Adam Schiff. And I was like, what is happening? This is the president of the United States attacking
Right.
a member of Congress with an absurd title. I have to put this into a book. I'd never written a book before. And not only did I put it in a book, but I made the book look like a children's storybook. But it's not a children's storybook. And the first one is, pretty factually accurate. The second one, the sequel, I find this is the most important work I've done in my life, I believe, next to raising my kids. Um, because it
Wow.
goes back to the beginning of 2020 when COVID just hit. And I feel like, remember, I said earlier, I was talking about amnesia, collective amnesia. People are memory holing what Donald Trump did to this country by downplaying the severity of the crisis, the COVID crisis. He is responsible for a lot of the deaths that happened.
Sure.
He's responsible for a lot of the jobs that were lost and the businesses that were closed and the supply chain that was ruined. All of the stuff that happened, and people have to, oh, my gas was $1.99. You know what? It was $1.99 because nobody was going anywhere, because
Correct.
demand was down, because COVID had completely had the country in a stranglehold. So not only just that, but the book also covers January 6th. It covers all of his
Mhm.
crimes. It covers his bizarre behavior. He is depicted as with a ginormous head and a
Mhm.
tiny little body, because he's a little petty man. And that's how he should always be depicted, as small and petty.
No
And
question.
it is funny. It is a funny book. There's a lot of funny stuff in there.
Good.
He is depicted several times in diapers. Uh, he is
Appropriate.
also he is also depicted in jail. So you can find this book on my website. If you're interested in an autographed copy, it's on brooklynDadDefiant.com.
Okay.
Or if you have like an Amazon account, it's on Amazon.com.
Brooklyn
When you
Dad.
type in, yeah,
Okay.
when you type in the bigliest loser,
Yep.
it's gonna pop up the biggest loser, and then there'll be a link saying, "Did you mean the bigliest loser?"
Well, hey, I want to
Right.
buy this book. Besides all the great stuff in there, I certainly want to see images of him in a diaper. I think that's funny. So I'm looking forward to that. Well, listen, Brooklyn Dad Defiant, I love what you do. Your voice is so important, and you reach so many people. Keep up the great work, my friend, and I'd love to have you on again after the elections. Let's hope that we both get the result that we desperately want.